Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing diamond top fold cards. Now you see the 7x5 quite a lot. It's quite a common one, but I wanted to work out how to do all the different sizes for you guys. So I've been playing with paper and what a mess I made. But there you go, it's all done now and I've just got the measurements, so simple sailing from here. This one is going to fit in your A2 envelope, so it's 4¼ by 5½ at the widest and tallest. This is 7x5, this is A5 UK, or it's just over 8 by 5¾ You can always adapt the length of these but not the width. So point to point I'm talking about with width. And this is going to be the tall, ever popular Slimline card. I am tall, I'm not Slimline, I'm working on it. But we'll get there, together. So there we go, there's all your different sizes. So what happens with these is when you open them up, they do have like this little fold down. I think that's quite nice. You could always make it like a birdhouse or something inside it. Oh wow, nativity scene, how cool would that be? It'd be really nice. So you can put anything you want on these tops. These are a square from matting and layering, so it makes it nice and simple. I'm also going to explain to you how you make these shapes easily. So we'll do all those as well. So this is obviously the same for these. Now the only difference with this one is I chopped off the corners because I put a topper on and I wasn't going to cut around all those funny little shapes there. Life's too short. So I just cut angles on afterwards as well. I just glued the centre bit and then went under with my scissors and just chopped the pair off, so front and back. But anyway, let's get started and I'll get you how to show all of these different sizes. I'll get you how to show. I'll make all these different sizes with you today. So thanks to everyone that has liked, commented and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing, guys. Really kind of you. So hopefully you can see my scoreboard. I've just got all pretty colours, so I know they're different sizes basically for my it's just for my use. So what we're starting with is the tall slimline or the A2. Now this is the same for both, okay? So the difference is you're just going to cut it off. So if you look at these two cards, what we've got is the same width, the same shaped triangle, although I've cut this one down, and it's just a question if you would pop it onto your trimmer or however you cut, and you can see that's 5½, and this one I've left long, so it's a DL 8¼ you can take it down to 8, you know. So start with your cardstock, the length it is, whether it's 8½ by 11 or A4, and then cut down the width, or even 12 by 12, and cut down the width to 6 inches. Now the first thing you do is score them in half both ways. So we go 3 inches, and I like to really make sure those scores are enforced, and then 3 inches. Now if you've got a pattern on your card, this is the top of your card. So if you've got, like I always say, a person, that would be the head, body, legs. Okay, so make sure the head is facing that way. So 3 inches that way, 3 inches that way. And then what I like to do is reinforce these now. So line up the sides and make sure that they're accurate, because it will send off your diamond top if they're not. And then you can manipulate it a little bit, but it depends on your cardstock on how much it will let you. And then you just fold that in half, so you can see it's a little bit wonky donkey. So I'm gonna just manipulate it and get it to go a bit better. Butt it up against the side and score down. So we've got our 2 score lines crossways like this. Now the next thing I want to do is mark it. So put it back where it was, so you made your score there at 3, and then I need to mark it. So I'm going to mark it at 5 1/8 at the top there, and at the bottom there. Now this is all you do, and you can see those dents when you're working with it, okay? But just so as you can see at home, I'm just going to put little black lines on there so you can see what my next stage is. And you can obviously use a pencil if you struggle, and then rub it out afterwards. The next thing I'm going to do, keeping my card in exactly the same place, is I'm going to put my scoring tool in at 3 7/8. Okay, so that's 3 7/8. Now I can run it down and guess where it is, but just in case you can't, let me just pop on a ruler or even a piece of card, it doesn't matter. So just find that 3 7/8 mark there. So that's where your 3 7/8 is, and then you're just going to put your scoring tool in there and hold it. Now when I hold it, I am holding it, like I can move this, pivot this card around, and that is supported in the groove. Okay, now if you don't have a scoring board, you can make these measurements. So at 3 7/8 you put your little dot there. Okay, so now we've got this pen. 3 7/8 is there. Okay, well, it's probably more like there. And then what you would do is you would use a pencil, or you know, yeah, a pencil actually. You can then do this and you make a score line with your ruler, and then do it the other way. And if you find that easier, then by all means do it this way. Just make sure you don't send the line further up than that point. So all you're aiming to do now, I'm going to show you with the pivot. So you've got your 3 7/8 there, and then what you do is you pivot your card and get that dot to go to the same 3 7/8. So get it into that groove and then make your score. And then turn it around the other way and get this into the groove at 3 7/8 and make a score that way. So you've got your scores like that. Okay, and then what I like to do with these is if you fold your card in half, both ways if you like, let's go that way. Now I don't do this really strongly because as you fold card around, the inside fold is a little bit different to the top fold, so just sort of like gently tease it, like I want you to move this direction. And then when you've got that done, make sure that your card is folding this way and the tops are coming down. So these folds are coming down and those are going in like that. And then what you do is you just push against those, fold these over, and you're going to pinch these. It's really important that you pinch this side. So fold it down and then grab hold of your I'm going the wrong way. Start again. So have it round the right way. So you've got your mountain folds away from you. Yeah, so that's your mountain folders away from you, and these are your valley folds here because they're going in. So then you just pinch these two because these lines need to stay together, and if you pinch them you've got a better chance of them staying together. So it wants to do that anyway. You can see I haven't done anything that you haven't seen me do, and you just manipulate it and just let it fold into a card. Now be careful, and this is why you pinch here, to keep this diamond shape on. You can manipulate it, like I say, a little bit, but be careful. I'm going to do this to show you what not to do. So if you now reinforce those scores really strongly, you end up with all sorts of lines and marks all over your card. So the best way to do it is just lift up the diamond, you're not going to be able to see this very well, and just go inside and do it, because the back, you know, you can always cover it up, but don't worry about that too much. You just don't want that front square to be too damaged. So that is your first one. So this is your tall slimline, and obviously you can now turn it this way on your scoreboard, make sure this line is lined up, and then cut it down. So you can cut it down short, like I said, you can cut it to 5.5 and you get your 4 1/4 by 5.5, or you can keep it long, so you can just cut that bit off, and do that before you do your mats and layers, and we'll talk about mats and layers when I've done all 3 cards. So that's your first one. Now your second one we're going to do will be the next size, which will be the 7x5. So we're starting off with 7 inches wide by 9.5, and don't forget your pattern, it needs to be growing that way, feet, head, turn the feet that way. Okay, and then what you're going to do is score it 3.5 this way and then 3.5 the other way. So you always put that cross down through the middle, and then we're going to fold this up. It's going to be the same principle, exactly the same way we made the other one. We're just going to be doing different measurements. That's all it is, and they took me ages to work out, not going to lie. Absolutely ages, but now I've got them for life, so all's good. And then what we do with this one is we put our scoring tool at, well, first of all we do our marks. Do the marks first. So we're going to mark at 6, and I just do indents and there, but like I say, because you can't see, I will do little lines again, and I'll try and zoom in. Hang on, bear with me, I should have probably turned it off first. Hopefully you can see this one a bit better. You may not be able to see when I swing it now. So we've got a little indent there and our indent there, and I've just put a line on there. And then we put our score tool in at 4.5, I believe it was. So 4.5. So I'm just going to guess it like this, ghost it down, because I'm not going to be using these cards. But like I say, use your ruler or a piece of card. So that's our 4.5 dent there, right on the seam. That's where you need to be, just on the seam there. So the halfway mark. And then we keep our scoring tool in there. We lift up the, and we can move our card around and pivot it. And then we need to bring this back to 4.5, which is where it is. So can you see there, I've got the 4.5 lined up with 4.5. And we make our score, swivel it around to the 4.5 this way, and go down that way. Exactly the same thing. So now we fold it in half, manipulate it that way, manipulate it that way. And then these mounting folds away from you, like that. You can see already, it's like, oh, okay then, you want me to do that. So hold on again to these two pieces, and the other side if you want, and close your card. So it just closes, it just wants to do it. It's really cool. So you just close your card in like this. And then we just take that down, lift up that top flap because we don't want to mark it, and just manipulate inside the scores. So there you go, simple as that. We've got our 7x5, and because we cut it down, so we haven't got 7x5, have we? I didn't cut it down lengthways. Sorry, I was meant to cut this down to 9.5. So let me just do that, and then you'll see. If you cut it down to 7 by 9.5, I forgot to do it. I haven't got an extender on this. I'll just go and cut it down to 9.5. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I've cut it down. So start with 9.5 by 7. 7 this way, 9.5 that way. And then when you fold it up, your finished product will be 5 by just under 7, which is fine. Now you can, like I say, put this on your scoreboard and cut it down, so it could be 9 3/4 if you wanted to be exact, but it's always nice to have a bit of room in the envelope. So there you go, you can keep it longer as well if you want to, so lots of options. Now on to the next one, just bear with me, I'm just going to tidy up. Right, I've just zoomed back out. So this is A5 or your 8.5 by 11. It needs to be cut down to 8, but you can keep the length to your country. So if you've got A4, keep it at 11 3/4. If you've got 11.5, no, it's 11, isn't it? 11, keep it at 11, that's fine. So just score in half again, 4 inches. I like to double it, and 4 inches this way, like so. And then we're going to do our marks next, because that's the way I like to do it. And we're going to mark it 6 3/4. Little dent there. And a little dent there, but just again for the camera. There and there. And then we put our scoring tool right in the centre line, on this centre line. And we're going to pop that in at, she says, can't remember, 5 1/8. So 5 1/8 is there. Squash it in. Give you a little pencil mark, pen mark even. And then we're going to hold it there. Keep it still. And swivel it round to 5 1/8. Like so. Make the score. Up and back. And swivel this round to 5 1/8. Up. Do it twice. And then we can do all our scores. Normally I'll do, like I said before, I normally do the first ones to make sure they're in line before I make the other scores. It's always better because once you've got those diagonals in, you can't change them. So you can't really manipulate this one. So always do your folding of the crossways first, then go back and do your diagonals. Fold it in half, bend it a little bit each way, open it up, bend it, hold it, and close it. Hold and close. So hold and close, and there you go. So this one, it's A4, comes in at 8.5, just over. Sorry, postie came. And either way, you plan your videos, make sure there's nothing going on, all good to go. Dogs fed and watered and walked. No. So A4 comes in at just over 8.5, and then the widthways is just under 5 3/4, so it'd be fine for your C5 envelopes. I'm not sure what the US is for bigger ones, but you can adjust your length accordingly. So there you go, that's all of the 4 sizes, but like I say, the yellow one was you cut it down to the size that you want. Right, now for mats and layers, the best thing to do, I've cut them all down, but I think I'll only show you one. I need to show you one really. So let's go with the bigger one, because you've got a better chance of seeing it, haven't you? So, and it's quite a good contrasting colour. So we know that the beginning of this was 4 inches. Okay, so I always cut down 1/4 of an inch. Now it can go 1/8 of an inch, but you haven't got much room for wiggling and error and things like that. So what I do is I just do that and then measure up to there, and then that's going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. So, sorry, 1/8 of an inch. Now you can measure this, so if we were to measure it and do it like properly, I probably should, but I am one for tricks. So this is 6.5. So if I cut this to 6 1/4, right, then that will fit in there nicely. Okay, and then I would just have to make my cut. But what I like to do is I put it on, hold it in place, and you can always use repositionable if you're worried about it moving, and then just move it up. I do it by eye, but you can measure it, that extra 1/8 of an inch, and then turn it over, because I've folded my card at an angle. Take some scissors and then just cut along that edge without cutting your initial card. Just cut along that edge, and then when you drop it back, you'll regain that 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to just open it up so you can see it. So there you go, just put that onto there, and you've got your perfect size mat and layer. This one is a square, so you just cut it down 1/4 of an inch smaller than what the square is to match. So really simple to do, guys. Have fun making all these. I really would like to see your projects. I am on Facebook, Sarah Trebilcock, you can find me. So if you make anything, I always share my projects, you know, the tutorials on Facebook, so you can always comment on it with a photo. I'd love that. Okay guys, have a great day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.